Hey everyone, it's Keela here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap baking video. We are going to be making pumpkin patch because Halloween is not too far away. We're going to jump into this video by starting to make the embeds to go on the top of this one. Let's go. So first thing we're going to do is make some pumpkins to go on the top of our soap, and I'm going to make all this pumpkin without the use of any fancy tools. We're just going to use some fondant ones, and what I have is one of the ball tools. It's got about a medium-sized ball. I have this one that has this little flat silicone tip on it, but you'll see when I use it in the video you could quite easily just use the ball tool. And I also have a bamboo skewer. Now I'll be using the Pimp My Soap dough to do this one. I have got some orange, I've got some Monstera, and I have got some espresso here as well. Now one of the things that I wanted to try and do when I made this pumpkin is I often watch people make these as embeds and wonder how they always get the lines around the pumpkin to look so smooth and as if they are a part of that pumpkin. Normally when I do them it looks like I really have put a skewer around putting the lines in. And one day I was playing with a bit of soap dough trying to get my pumpkin shape, wasn't happy, and I did something to it and worked out exactly how to get those beautiful smooth lines that you see everyone else do. So let's go and make our little pumpkin embed and I'll show you what I did. So first thing we're going to do is start off with some of the orange soap dough. Now I like to weigh my soap dough for my embeds so that I end up with the correct sort of size so that all my bars have roughly the same weight. I'm going to start off with about 3 grams worth of the orange soap dough, and I'm going to just roll it up into a ball. And at this point I am not worried about getting the shape of my pumpkin. So we've just got a ball. Next thing I'm going to do is grab a skewer and I'm just going to put those lines around it that we all know. So what I'm doing is putting my skewer down on the top, I'm rolling it round so that we're putting an indent into our soap dough here, and you can see what I mean, that it really does look like I've just put a skewer in and made some indents. I'm going to go back around and I'm going to fill in each of those quarters with another one, and then once I've done each of those quarters I'm just going to go back around, and anywhere I see that there's a fairly big space I'm just going to put some little lines in there, ones that don't go all the way. You can even put, you know, a couple of little ones in there, and it doesn't have to be in each one. But as you can see it still looks like I've literally taken a piece of soap dough and put a skewer through it. What I was doing when I was really unhappy, I had it between my finger and forethumb, or finger and thumb I should say, and I just gently squished it until I got the shape of the pumpkin. And as I was squishing it down, all those lines that I put into it suddenly became quite rounded and looked a lot more natural, and that was how I got that really nice looking pumpkin shape. So there we have it. What I'm now going to do is do the top of it. So I'm going to make that the bottom, and then on the top here I'm just going to dip my little ball tool into a bit of water just so it doesn't stick, and I'm going to make a little bit of an indent in the top, and this is where we're going to start building some of our pieces. I'm going to get some of the Monstera, and I quite literally only need a little piece of this. I'm going to break off just a little bit more than I know that I need. So there's a piece here, and we're going to create the first leaf to go on it. And what I tend to do is once I've conditioned it through my fingers a bit, I kind of pull my top piece, hold on to the bottom, and I pull that bit off. That becomes waste, but we start to end up with a leaf shape. Just from pulling it we form that sort of teardrop shape. Just give it a little bit more of a shaping there. That should do. I'm going to add a little bit of detail because it's the detail that really brings our embellishments to life. Just going to put a couple of little bits of markings on our leaf. I'm going to grab my little ball tool again and add a bit more water, and then I'm going to stick my leaf on here, and this is where this little silicone one comes in handy. I tend to use it to push and meld those pieces of soap dough together so that they don't come apart, but you could use your ball tool to do that with as well. Now that I've got that in there, I'm going to make my little hole again so we've got somewhere to put the rest of these bits. I'm going to make the little curly piece, and again, you don't need fancy pieces of equipment to do it. I'm just taking a small piece of green soap dough. We're going to roll it out until we get a really long, skinny sausage. Alright, so now I've got that, I'm going to take my little bamboo skewer, and now I'm going to just wrap that very gently around. I don't want it too tight, but I do want to get that little curl, so let's wrap it around, and then we're going to just push it off, and now we have a little vine swirl, and I'm going to attach that onto my pumpkin, if I can stop dropping it. And again, use that tool just to adhere the soap together. Use my skewer just to bring those curls back away, and I am going to kind of position it so that my curls kind of stick to my pumpkin, so that they're kind of they're adhered and they won't get knocked off easily. And then to finish it off, we're going to grab a piece of our espresso soap dough. Again, we only need a little tiny piece of this. Roll it into a bit of a ball and then shape the top. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm just going to get a bit of water onto the top here to help the pieces stick, and pop that into the top, and just use my tool again just to help make sure that they are stuck down. And there it is. There is our little pumpkin. I have another 16 of these to go and make, and then we'll get on to making the soap. Okay, so let's get on to making the soap. I'm using frosted pumpkin from off of the Fragrance Garden, and it smells so good. It's got notes of orange peel, frosted pumpkin, pine, white sugar, vanilla, maple, cinnamon, and clove. It does have 0.2% vanillin, so I'm going to try and work with those colours, and I'm going to stick to an orange base with a drop of some orange, a bit of green, and a bit of brown, which will tie in all the colours that are on our little pumpkin embeds. So let's get into it. Get you positioned a bit better, because I am pretty sure this is how I make the curly whirlies. Someone said it to me and it kind of really makes sense. It's about the only thing that I do on almost all of my soaps that I get them on. I always pour with my soap mold going this way to me, whereas a lot of people pour their soap molds going this way, but I think by pouring it this way, this is how you kind of create a bit of a vortex, as it like a downward push, and that's what creates all my curly whirlies. So I'm going to pour this one in, and we'll see if we get them in this soap. don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but as I pour this down, you see that it pulls it down into the soap, and I think that is how it makes all those pretty curly whirly shapes. Okay, so there it is all done. It suddenly occurred to me I had a very orange top with some very orange pumpkins to go on there. So I quickly mixed up a little bit of mica with some oil just so I could give it a little bit more of a green pop to it and kind of make it look a little bit more vine-like. I'm going to pop one pumpkin onto the top of each of these. I am going to take this glove off so it doesn't get too much in the way. I haven't yet burned the mark lines onto my mold of where I want my cut lines, and that is because I want to make sure I have got them in the right place. So what I've done, you can't see it on the camera, I've actually got pencil lines on here for now, and we will see if they fall within the right areas for my embeds. Hopefully they do, and we won't end up with any casualties. But then it is soap dough, so they are easily fixed. Let's get all these little pumpkins on here. Alright, last one on there. Let me bring you down for a closer look. Okay, so here is pumpkin patch up close. You can see those line markings I was just talking about on the mold here. So I'm just seeing if we've got them in the right place. Love how that green does look like the vine sweeping through a pumpkin patch and then all those little pumpkins in between. I'm going to leave it sit here and we'll be back shortly and we'll see what sort of swirls we've got on the inside. Okay, it is time to cut into pumpkin patch. I absolutely love it, and I just absolutely adore how well these soaps come out of these new molds I've got. If you are interested in the molds that I'm using, they come from off of Seasons Soaps and Cutters, and I have left links down below for those in Australia who are interested in getting them. They are such great quality, and they really do make my life of unmolding soaps so much easier. Oh no, we're gonna have a few little casualties because I'm not quite lined up the way I want to be. Too bad, gotta keep going. We will fix them because they are soap dough. I didn't quite get it lined up right. Alright, we are through. Got my little end piece. This one's okay. Look at the swirls in there. Really like that. And there's our little pumpkin on the top. Really like those swirls. It smells absolutely amazing as well. This one is another one that's, the pumpkin's not damaged on this one, so it was all right for the first few here. Really love the swirls. We have got curly whirlies in there, and when I say curly whirlies, because a lot of people then say, oh, I get them, you know, putting a chopstick through and that sort of thing. What I'm talking about when I say curly whirlies, and sort of like the ultimate curly whirly, is you can see how on this it almost looks like tree rings when the curls are just so intense and they swirl through each other. They're the sort of curly whirlies that I keep trying to aim for. Now here's one of our first pumpkins. It has a little bit of damage, but we're going to be able to easily fix that. It's soap dough, so we're going to be able to adhere that back on with a little. I'll get some water after I finish cutting them, and then I will get them all fixed back up. So there is another one there. Absolutely love how this one has come up. This pumpkin's had a lot more damage, but again, I will get that one all fixed up too. But really like the colors. Although technically our Halloween is in spring, this one actually does have some very autumn vibes. I'm just getting the little bits of pumpkin that need fixing to go back with the bits that I need. So yeah, because it is soap dough, it's just going to be so easy to fix. And that's one of the reasons I actually swapped. I used to use not cold process, used to use melt and pour to do some of my embeds, but if you did end up chopping them, they were quite hard to fix, whereas when you use it as a cold process soap or soap dough, they're so easy to fix back up and people will never know unless you tell them that you damaged it. There is another one, and those curls in there, they're the sort of curls I really am always so happy to find, where you can just see those fine layers of color just all swirling through each other. Absolutely love it. So there is another one. It was only those couple in that end that I did actually damage, so I'm not too far off with my alignment there. So I hope you have enjoyed coming along as I made my pumpkin patch soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up, any comments down below, and if you're interested to see how or if this one is going to discolor anymore, come and follow me along on Instagram, and I'll be posting final pictures of it when it's ready. So until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.